This update is weird. So, Generation Zero's companion update came out recently, and I'm not entirely even sure what to say about it because it's cool. It's an interesting idea, and we get some new fun stuff to play with. And also, it's a way more substantial update than the last one was. But also, why? I know that they got the idea for this update from a forum post a while ago, but like, how many people were really asking for this? I'm not sure this was such a massive, as big a suggestion that people wanted to see as another story island or something. It's just kind of weird to me that this is the thing that seems to have won out. But it's not bad. It's just kind of bizarre that this is the thing they chose to do. Probably one of the biggest things this update will do for me is it'll give me the ability to carry way more stuff because apparently the companion doesn't take up that much more weight when it's in your inventory, even if you fill its 30-pound inventory with stuff, which will be probably real nice when I do base assaults and other stuff like that. I'm just really not sure what other applications this will have because I tried to use it in some fights and I was not impressed. I know I'm gonna be able to upgrade it later, but like it was dying constantly, did basically no damage, and just caught itself killed all the time, and I couldn't really do much with it. I just did everything myself mostly. All it did was really distract the enemies for a bit. So I'm not sure what to say about like this thing's applications other than being a backpack essentially because it doesn't have much combat potential, at least not to start. Maybe the later upgrades for it will be a bit more impressive, but I haven't gotten those yet. But just like the base thing was kind of underwhelming. So I'll try to get it further along, try to see maybe it's better once you have more of the stuff for it. But for now, it was just like, this is barely even worth using in my inventory or in combat because it dies very, very easily. Like, do not bring this to a tank fight or anything like that. Don't bring it to... I guess you could use it on hunters as like a distraction, but it's not going to do any meaningful damage. And don't expect this thing to be like your saving grace in a fight you're losing or whatever. I'll just say that. Also, as far as I know, you can only really have a runner, which is, that's not an issue. I think it would be a bit weird if we could carry a hunter in our inventory, but again, that massively limits what this thing is really all that capable of, because runners can only do so much, and even if you massively buff up their damage or whatever, it's still not going to be even close to what you can do with most of the guns you as the player have. Like I said, this is more of a distraction for machines than anything else, at least for now. Maybe it'll be better, but I've only been able to use it for that, really, if I even used it in combat at all. So far, I've basically just only deployed it when I wanted to stuff its inventory to free up space in my own, and that's about all I've really been able to find any use for with it. Also, getting this thing was kind of a pain. I had to... I got... You'll probably see in this footage here, but I got stuck trying to figure out how this worked because I didn't realize it was already in my inventory at this point when I finally... Not at this point in the footage, but when I did complete the mission and when I had it, it goes straight into your inventory even when it's appeared at the companion station, which had me really confused because I didn't realize it was not... I didn't realize I already had it. I was trying to figure out, like, how do I take it off the companion thing to use it, not realizing that it automatically went in. So that could have been a bit more clear. So, yeah, that's really all I've got to say about the update itself. This was, like, despite being a more substantial update, given that it added this new whole feature, it's still, like, there wasn't much going on here. Like, this isn't as small as the last update. The last update was really small, but this is more than that, but it's still not huge. And also, I have not experienced this, but I have heard there were crashes on launch of this update. They're in the process of fixing them, or they might have already fixed them by the time this video goes up. But I did hear from quite a few people that there were crashes, especially in multiplayer with this update. And so hopefully that's fixed, but that's obviously very bad when that happens with any update for this game. But I didn't experience that. I was able to play just fine, and I didn't have any problems at all. I didn't play multiplayer yet this update, so maybe I'll get them then. But so far, I've just been doing single player to get all the components and test the companion out mostly. So with this update itself out of the way, I wanted to talk about the roadmap they put out with this update because it's not looking like very much. So they put out a roadmap for the second half of the year, and they're expecting at some point between now and October paid DLC companion accessories pack, which is going to be like nothing for most people. Halloween event, which is probably again going to be mostly cosmetics like last time. And then the most important thing we see on this update, on this roadmap here, is weapon augmenting, which I'm not entirely sure what that means. Hopefully that means more interesting attachments or something. I'm not entirely sure. Skills revamp, which please let that mean that we're going to be able to actually get all of the skills now instead of being stuck with, I think, like 31 of them, which is kind of a dumb system. And then they're going to get 60 FPS working on PS5 because apparently they haven't yet. And more procedural missions, which I'm fine with. The procedural missions aren't anything to be super impressed by, but yeah, they're okay. They give me something to do. I don't mind more of them. And then new vehicles DLC. What that means, probably more bikes, but I'm not entirely sure. It could be something else too. I don't know. But that's not very much. Probably the biggest things on there are going to be the procedural missions, the weapon augmenting, and the new vehicles DLC on like that whole roadmap. And that's all stuff after October. That's like late this year, like as late as December. So who knows? I don't know what the future of this game holds at this point. I hope they do something substantial to give it a proper send off, because I do think Generation Zero is kind of nearing the end of its development. But like this is concerningly low expectations for what they are going to do compared to like last year or the year before. So I'm really not sure how much longer this game will be in development. I think it'll have an active player base for quite a while, but it seems to have made most of the money it's going to make. So I don't know how much further the devs are going to be able to take it. In my last video about the procedural missions update, I did kind of make a similar point where I said, like, I think the game is nearing its end, and this seems to only further support that. We seem to be nearing, like, we seem to be almost done with this game. It seems like the devs are running out of budget and running out of, like, maybe, I don't think they're running out of ideas, but they seem to not have much left at this point in them for this game, which is okay. This game has a lot of content. I've just used all of it up already, so I don't mind if the game eventually ends development. I hope it gets a proper send-off, like I've said. I hope that it has like a proper ending added to it at the very least. Like, I hope basically that it'll get one final big update that will like properly close out the story and properly like finish the Phoenix and all that other stuff, like all those plot lines, and like give us a nice final boss to do, just like a little final thing before the game is fully done. I hope that's what we get. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. But it does seem like 2024 might be the last year for this game, because 2023 they don't seem to be doing much. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm looking at this roadmap and I see mostly, like, I mean, they're relying heavily on DLC to even fund anything more for this game, which that doesn't particularly surprise me, but hopefully we get more than just DLC weapons and DLC skins and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm sure people are gonna have fun with this still. Like I'm sure the new vehicles are going to be fun, and whatever weapon augmenting means on this roadmap, I'm sure that's going to be great too. That's probably going to be. I'm not even sure. That might be like a new attachments thing or some new EXPs or whatever. I don't know exactly what it'll mean, but it could be fun. I still think there's a lot left in this game, but I think we're probably looking at like I highly doubt 2025 will see any updates to this game. I think like if there is any like big final update, it'll be next year probably because I don't see much else. I don't see the devs really expecting all that much more on their plans on their roadmap. Okay, small thing. I just looked and it looks like they have issued a fix for the crashes I mentioned earlier. Hopefully that means that those aren't going to be a problem anymore for the people who were having them. So yeah, small update there. Looks like they did fix them. I'm just making this addendum as I edit now because I just saw that. So yeah, that's really all my thoughts on this update. I thought it was cool. It gave me something fun to play with for a bit, but it's not super large and it definitely isn't going to completely change the game for me or anything. It was fun to do. It was interesting. It's nice to have the ability to carry more stuff in the companion. That's going to be extremely useful for stuff like I usually end up over encumbered after like base assaults and stuff like that all the time, so this will be real nice to help deal with that. But like this is still very small, just like the last update. These last updates have been very they have not been particularly substantial, which is okay, but it's kind of disappointing that we're getting this little new content for the game. But it's not surprising. Like I said, I don't think we're gonna see much past 2024 for this game. But yeah, thanks for watching. That's all I really have to say about this. If you have any other details or stuff I missed, or just like, or if you have any thoughts of your own on this, put them in the comments. I love reading that kind of thing. And I'm very interested to see where they go in the future with some of this other stuff, but I don't have my hopes high for the content being for like huge content updates anymore. I hope we get one more, but if we do get one more, it'll be like the last one, I think. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we get more content, but for now that's what it's looking like, unfortunately. So yeah, thanks for watching.